With Axie Infinity Origins just about a month away, I thought this was a great time to make an update video on the state of Axie Infinity. So in today's video, we're going to be going over the problems in Axie Infinity, as well as the ROI in Axie Infinity and a bunch of other cool stuff. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. And to start, I want to look at the Axies available in the marketplace. So this is today, and it is February 23rd. There's currently 664,000 Axies available, with the floor price around 0.01 ETH, or around $26. Now, I've been keeping track of the Axies and their prices in the marketplace. This first picture here comes from December 9th, when SLP was trading around 4 cents. Again, the floor price was around 0.022 or $92 for a floor Axie. So if we fast forward about a month in the future, or about a month from today on January 16th, again, we can see that there was 619,000 Axies in the marketplace, and the floor price was about the same where it is right now at 0.01 ETH. Now, this number is pretty significant as the Axies are actually increasing over time, and we just had a releasing event and the Ludian Express, which allowed players to release Axies. And if you look here, they were able to release over 147,000 Axies. So now we can interpret this as one of two ways. One, that the demand for Axies is actually falling off, which is not good. Or two, there are so many more people breeding now than there were before, and the demand just can't keep up. But in reality, it is the first option, as we now are going to take a look at the mint and burn ratio. So as we all know, the Axie Infinity minting rate was actually severely decreased because of the new changes in the update without daily quests as well as PvE rewards. Now, prior to this change, the burn rate was around 40 million SLP a day, and now with the minting rate dropping down to about 60 to 70 million, the problem is the burn ratio has actually dropped basically in line with the mint rate. This is most likely due to the increase in the actual SLP price, as well as less people are actually buying out Axies in the Axie community, as well as Axie prices just in general are lower, so it's not as profitable to breed right now as it was a few months ago. And the last change that really plays into effect of the actual state of affairs in Axie Infinity before we go into the ROI changes is actually the AXS leaderboard rewards. Now, if you haven't checked out my video before, I highly recommend it. It breaks down this table pretty nicely for you. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the ROI. So now we're going to be diving in depth on the ROI in Axie Infinity with 3 different teams. So this chart will be broken into 3 parts. This first part right here will be a starter team. Again, it's a cheap team that's sitting around 1500 MMR. Then you'll have a meta team, which I actually chose as the double bug Pocky. And then finally, the third team, which is the top end, high end team, which is looking at 2500 MMR plus. This is going to be that God Aqua or God Reptile build. Again, high end builds that are able to push into that top 1000 leaderboard. So again, this starter team that we picked, I believe I picked a beast, plant, bird combo, something along those lines. It ended up being about $180 at today's price. Now, with a scholar able to hit 1500 MMR, they're actually able to earn around 80 SLP a day on average. And we got this number from a 50% win rate at their MMR at 8 SLP a win. That's going to give you 80 SLP a day. So with that data, they're going to be able to profit about $1.68 a day. Again, this is using the SLP price currently at about 2 cents. SLP did just have a nice little spike up here today. It was trading around, 0.018 cents per SLP. Now that would give us an ROI if you're playing on the account at about 107 days or around 3 months. Now, most of us are either a scholar or somebody that is managing a scholar team. So the ROI with a scholar, you're just going to times this number by 2 if you're giving a 50-50 split, which would give you around 214 days. So this gives us an ROI at about 7 months here, which is, not horrible, but it's not great. Now, luckily for us, there is a new AXS reward into the community and is a lot more achievable for lots and lots of scholars. All you need to do, finish in the top 300,000 and you'll be able to get that AXS, which for finishing in that top 300,000, you can get yourself 0.29 AXS or around $15 worth. Now, if we divide this number out by the days in the season, which averages around 40 days or so, you're going to get an extra little boost of profit around 40 cents into your daily profit. So with that in mind, again, the ROI now with AXS, if you're playing on the account, drops down about 20 days to 87, while the scholar drops down by 40 days on the ROI, getting it around 6 months. Now moving on to our meta team here, again, it costs us around $342. That's going to be including, the Pocky as well as the double bug with the sandal as well as the scarab. So this team currently is around $342. Again, prices fluctuate as more teams are added on. We'll take our average SLP a day. We'll call it about 120, again, 50% win rate. We get the AXS reward this time finishing up there, and with this team you're definitely able to push into that top 1,000 range, giving us an AXS reward expected of somewhere between 1.54 and then if you're able to finish that top 10,000, 0.64. But we're going to be saying that you're a higher skill, again above average player, and this team is definitely in that top 1,000, so we're going to say that 1.4. So again, ROI without it is a little bit longer than the starter team as expected. Again, this team is about twice as expensive as the other one, not earning twice as much SLP. That's going to make the ROI around 135 days or 271 if you're using a scholar. Now with this AXS, this is where the drastic change actually falls into place. Your ROI becomes shorter than with the starter team at just 76 days if you're using it, and the ROI with the scholar drops by an extra 20 days compared to the starter team. Again, profit per day about doubles here, so it seems like the meta team is the way to go with that double bug Pocky. Now with that logic, would that make the expensive team a better option? Unfortunately, it is not. Again, with this really expensive team, you have to finish really high on the AXS rewards. Otherwise, it's really not worth it. You get your longest time with your ROI if you're just basing off your SLP. But with that 2.52 AXS, you're expected, you have to finish in that top 500. Otherwise, it's not really worth it. But if you're able to, get in that top 100, especially that top 100, then you're going to be able to ROI just off the AXS in one season. The expensive team is very high risk, high reward. Again, the profit per day jumps up to about $6 a day if you're able to, crack that top 500. And as we all know, you're able to have 40 or 60 energy. So I actually broke it down. Most people, if they're using a starter team, aren't going to allocate 40 energy towards it. It's more those higher end teams. So again, looking at the 40 energy here, is it worth it to go 40 energy or 20 energy? So with the 40 energy, we're just going to go ahead and add an extra $210 per team, and that comes from the floor prices, again around $30 or so, mostly is that floor on average. So this addition of 20 extra energy actually helps out our ROI on the SLP averages, but actually leaves the AXS returns at basically indifferent. This is pretty interesting. Now moving on to the ROI for the expensive team, this drops our ROI time significantly, almost about 100 days with the Scholar Edition ROI compared to the 20 energy. And with the AXS, it also drops it down by about another 10 days or so. And if you were to buy these teams at the current prices right now and actually change the SLP price down lower, because in my opinion, I feel like SLP is going to continue to drop. If we drop it down to just 1 cent, again, your ROI is right now looking at about 307 days, 216 days, 224 days, along with 253, 237 with the AXS and the 40 energy. Now this ROI is still about 8.5, 9 months with these two teams here. With the 40 energy, with 20 energy, it's a little bit less, and this still isn't very bad at all. Again, 8-9 months, if you were to start up a business and ROI on that business this quickly, you'd consider that a success. So now, is Axie Infinity still worth to get into with the prices as they are right now? With the prices that they are right now, yes, 100%. The Axies are actually, very cheap, and you're able to get that ROI pretty quickly, a couple months. But with SLP, if it is to drop below 1 cent, again, triple down to, a quarter of a cent, a half of a cent, that's when you're starting to get into that trouble period. But with Axie Origins right around the corner, and hopefully an SLP buyback in the future, this could be a pretty nice buy-in point. But again, always take it with a grain of salt. Prices are always subject to change, and they could continuously get lower. In my personal opinion, I'm waiting about another 2 weeks or so before buying any more Axies. That's because I think SLP is going to drop down almost to about 1 cent, and then that should bring down the prices of these teams further. With all that being said, Axie Infinity definitely has some things going in its way for the future, but you just have to be cautious about when you're getting into this project and the excess supply in the Axie market. I will see you guys all in the next video. Have a great day. Peace.